So
Yeah.
is it recording?
Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to our Super Saturday for ANZ Collab. My name is Josie Tong. I am hosting my enroller, the one and only Tara Wilson, Executive Presidential. This lady here is a rock star, multi-million dollar earner for sure. And she has got the brain of a scientist. She knows everything. It's like, ask her, and she's like an encyclopedia. But today she's going to talk about leadership, which is one of the most important skills that we need to have as we develop teams and to be successful. So, guys, let me know in the chat, let Tara know in the chat where you're watching from. And as I hand over the stage, online virtual stage to Tara Wilson, our executive presidential. So over to you, Miss Tara.
Hey everyone, good morning. I'm assuming it's morning where most of you guys are. It's 5 in the evening here in Arizona, and just really honored to be here today, always. And I see Debbie. Hi Debbie from the US. Hey Susan, look at you guys, your beautiful faces. Hey Rhonda, Dr. Teresa. Who else do I see? Sue. Well, it doesn't, yeah, Sue. All right. So, Josie, thank you for having me on. This is the one topic that I am absolutely the most, um, I guess, passionate about because, like, I think everything rises and falls on leadership. I learned that from John Waxwell. I had a great, unique opportunity in my last company to invest $25,000 for a year with a group of, I think it was like 30 of us that were on his table. So we had a private monthly Zoom and 3 in-person Zooms for 8 hours with the legendary John C. Maxwell. And that's the one thing he always said was that everything rises and falls on leadership. And, a lot of people think that, there has to be like a specific income or a rank that entitles you to leadership. And I'm here to tell you all that the day you join this company, you can decide to be a leader. And, there's a lot of different definitions floating around, like what is leadership, this and that. And there's a lot of great definitions. You could probably put it in ChatGPT and get a lot of really great answers to what is leadership. And for me, over the years, just my own personal opinion, this is my own personal mantra. This is a unique, this is a unique Tara, like working works is a unique Tara. Is that leadership is a decision you make to be responsible for the results in your team. And like from day one, because I was raised in the network marketing world in 2007 of there was no options. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have Skype at the time. We didn't have smartphones. We had literally good old-fashioned texting, conference calls, and emails. That's it. And so I guess you can imagine that. I mean, I feel more sorry for the Amway people who, 50 years ago had to draw their entire organization out. I actually visited the Amway Worldwide headquarters. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever done to give myself vision, because I think it was like 1959, the Amway founders were selling organic soap in the streets of Michigan. And if anyone knows about Michigan, I know Debbie, you would. Michigan is like one of the poor, like some of the areas are like one of the poorest states. There's some wealthy parts, but it wasn't like California that's really progressive, a lot of millionaires or people that are influencers or healthy. You're talking about working class people. And they built it into, I think it's last year, like an $11 billion a year empire. And when we were visiting, we got the tour. So the owner of my last company that I was in, he grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which was the home of Amway. And it was the two founders were Van Andel and DeVos. And he took us on like a tour. It was like presidential type level people. It was like the top, I don't know, 10 or 15 of us. And he took us on a little like van tour of the city. And he's like, that's DeVos Museum, and that's Van Andel Hospital, and that's DeVos this, and that's Van Andel's JW Marriott. And he's like, I grew up in a town that literally was all Amway, to where I had my senior ball at the Van Andel JW Marriott or whatever. And as he rode us through this town of showing us like the impact that this company had, a little network marketing company, right? It really broadened my horizons and my brain of like what is really possible. Organic soap in 1959, bro, I didn't hear about organic till like I was 30. You know what I mean? Like there's some people that still don't shop organic, right? So anyway, long story short, we go into this room and there's it's like a museum, and there was a big roll of like you'd see in like a child's classroom of like brown paper on a roll, and they're like, who can guess what this was used for in the early days? And oh, we're like, oh, for packing the boxes, for shipping, and everyone had all these ideas, and the answer surprised us all. She says, nope. Every single month, the top leaders would come into this office and they would take rolls of this paper and they would line an entire wall and they would draw their entire organization with all the new enrollments by hand. By hand, right? Sorry, I have like itchy, like I have allergies. So can you imagine that having to draw your organization up? We can click a button and see our organization. We have an incredible reporting system. But like what our leaders in this industry had to do is so much harder. You can literally join a company today, get a link, call a friend in Canada, who calls a friend in Mexico, who calls a friend in Australia, who calls a friend in the UK, who calls a friend in Germany, who calls a friend in New Zealand. And you can have an international business in under 10 minutes. Like that's what we have our hands on today. And it's like, it's easier today. And I wonder if that makes leaders lazy, right? And I'm not gonna, I'm your friend. I want you guys, as I talk about this stuff, to do a self internal evaluation of where you land on leadership, right? So there's good leaders that can mobilize energy, they can give vision, they can talk a big game, they can, be excited, they can be a little knowledgeable, they can know about the comp plan. But there's leaders that can paint a vision, and there's leaders that can move people, that they impact everything they touch. And their vision is so strong and their energy is so strong that you can't help but be excited when you're around them. And I don't mean to brag. I mean, I think my track record speaks for itself, but I have been at the top of all four companies I've been at, including my first one, where I didn't know anything about network marketing, entrepreneurship, comp plans, anything. We had no back, like we had a janky back office and a website and a DVD. But the decision I made in March of 2007 wasn't just to join a company and see where it went. It wasn't to join someone's team. It was to truly start a business. And I knew from the start it was my business. So I was enrolled by my sister, who was enrolled by my brother, who was enrolled by his neighbor, who was enrolled by some guy in his construction company. And way, 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 way up the line was our upline. And she could only come into town because she lived 4 hours away, like every 3 months. And the one time she did come into town, like right around when I was making my decision, that was the day I joined. Like I went to her and then I was like, okay, when is she coming next? I'd love to bring people in front of her. They're like, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 months. I was like, what? And the light bulb went off at that moment that, oh my goodness, like this is this has got to be me. This is going to be my hard work. So I went home. I told my husband, he's like, "Are you going to do this thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" This lady at the front of the room today was making 300,000 a year. And by the way, today's dollars, that would probably be over 500,000. So it wasn't a small amount. Like, and she had only been in the company 10 months. So when I always talk about the 300,000 a year, that's 20 years ago. So in today's dollars, that would be like someone making 500,000 a year. And I immediately like never thought of I had to rely on my sister who joined a week before me, or my brother who joined, a few weeks before me and enrolled 52 people in our first company, including my entire family and all of my friends who were also, I was 34 at the time. Wait, yeah. Let's see, '07. Let's see, March of '07. So I would have been, yeah, I was 33 at the time I joined. I had a 1 year old, a 7 year old, and a husband that also worked full time, as well as myself having a full time job. And I never thought it was going to be easy. I knew it would be weird and uncomfortable because I was like, I'm starting from scratch. And actually, last night I had dinner with my first leader. and I don't know if you guys have Craigslist in Australia, but it was like an online site where you could like sell old furniture, and it was like today's Facebook Marketplace. You can, Craigslist was like an online posting service, but it wasn't for sales. You couldn't sell anything, and I had no idea because all my friends said no. So I started posting, and in 45 minutes before my post was flagged and removed for being spam, one person called me and then ambushed me with this gal, Tina. And Tina ended up being my first equivalent of like an EC2, EC3 in my first company and my second company. We're still good friends after 19 and a half years. So it's like, you got to do whatever it takes. And so I got home and I turned off my television for 6 years because I knew that there was people like me that had kids, that had jobs, that had spouses, that had other obligations and maybe family or whatever, that they wouldn't be as committed as me. And so I knew that I had to go the way so I could teach the way. So I remember sitting down on my couch for like a solid 4 or 5 nights with a 34-page compensation plan for like one product. We had two products. All the ways you get paid, and it being like literally like taking French when on my first day, it was like taking fourth year French. I was so like, but I'm like, if I did, and then I would ask some questions to the upline. I would send them, an email and say, can you explain this? And I mean, it was 34 pages. So it had good explanations of what this is. What is SV? What is PV? What is this? What is that? What is check match? All that stuff. And I learned a new like vocabulary, a new vernacular, because I was like, if I'm going to build a team, they've got to understand how they're going to get paid, right? It's not about pushing a product or selling a product or whatever about exciting. I had to learn the product, I had to learn the comp plan, and had to learn how to build the business. And it was simple, no more complicated than it is today, than it was in 1980 or 1890 when Avon started, or 1950s when Amway started, or the 1980s or so when Herbalife started. It's always been the same. So the principles of network marketing have always been the same. The techniques are different. We have more techniques and tools available today than the rest of, like, probably in the last year, than the entire history of network marketing combined with AI and all the YouTube and podcasts. Like, there is no shortage of information of how to build a business. Would you all agree that network marketing is easy to do? You find people, you get them interested, you share the idea of the products and the business opportunity, you follow up and ask them what questions. There's nothing complicated. I'm literally at dinner last night with my friend, and we're just laughing and joking and catching up. She actually lives 2 miles from me now. She used to live an hour and a half from me when we worked together, and I moved to Arizona, and then a year and a half later she did. And she's like, I just loved it. I came to visit you, and I loved that you had a big house, and I love the weather, and she is happy here. So we're catching up. And there was I live in Scottsdale, and it's a very fun town, and I don't ever leave my house, but we were, down at a restaurant. We're just sitting at the bar having some appetizers, and this bachelor party comes, and they're like 34, like 32 to 36 years old, and they're just talking to us and asking us, hey, you guys look fun, which I'm like, I'm 52. I'm not that fun. I haven't been out to a bar in like 5 years. I don't even know what they're like, is there anywhere fun? And just asking for recommendations and just being nice. And then the one guy my friend always talks about her business. She does this fun network marketing business. She's really bold about it, where I'm more like, I'll wait for them to ask me, right? Because I'm not with my friend. I don't want to be in the sales pitch. So they start asking her, and then they're like, well, what do? You do the same thing? And I was like, no, I work for a biotech company. We have supplements, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, what kind? And he's like, well, do you guys have anything for sleep? This is a 34-year-old guy at a bachelorette party or bachelor party at a bar. Restaurant. And I was like, yeah, our flagship product, the two most incredible claims people have, is better sleep and better pain. And he's like, okay, can you send me information? So I was like, yeah. So I gave him my phone. He typed in, and I was like, don't worry, I'm not going to spam you. If you buy it, great. If you don't, I will never contact you again. But you said you're interested. And then I was like, you might want to put like, hey, it's because he's like Tara. And I was like, maybe you should put like, interested in your supplements in case your wife like reads your text. I don't know. I don't want to get you in trouble. So we were laughing about it. And I'll probably message him on Monday or Tuesday when he's back at home, probably Tuesday, because he's probably gonna be tired from a weekend in Scottsdale. But the bottom line is, it was easy to talk about. And he was interested with a 5-second conversation, because he's like, oh, I have cellular stress. I'm like, we all do. And I'm like, gosh. And I reminded myself, like, we are all in our own heads. So why aren't we all presidentials? Why aren't we all executives? Why aren't we all where we want to be? right? Because not everyone wants to be a presidential because it's a lot of work. I mean, if it wasn't a lot of work, there'd be more than a dozen presidentials worldwide. It's a lot of work, you know? And it's a lot of work to get to executive, right? So, what's the difference between you and where you want to be? And that is the mindset you have, the value you can add, and the leadership you choose to go where you want to go. And leadership is, acknowledging that you can say to yourself, hey, everyone should just learn the comp plan. Come on, guys. That's There wouldn't be like a 80-20 rule. I think the 80-20 rule is not even applicable in this. Or like, the 80-20 rule is 80% of the work will be 20% of the people. I think it's like 99-1 because everyone's like, oh, you're a 1%er. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm a 1/10 no, I'm a 1/10,000th of 1%. Because there's 55,000, 60,000 consultants worldwide, and I'm one of 10, I don't know, 12 presidentials. That's like one in 8,000 people, right? So, executives, they're probably one in a tenth of a percent, right? And the difference is like choosing every day to make yourself that leader, to build that leader, to acknowledge that leadership potential within inside of you, and saying it's just a matter of I will learn the comp plan because I will be teaching it to the people who won't be the leaders. I will be knowledgeable enough about the products or how to get the product information. I will know where the events are. I will know the communication. I mean, guys, I still have EC2s and threes asking me questions like that they should know. I mean, we'll literally get off a call and they'll ask me a question. Or 3 months into a trip qualification, they'll ask me a question that is clearly written in the trip qualifications on lifevantage.com. And I don't mind answering the questions, but how much more powerful would it be if you didn't have to? See, leadership is when the company it rolls out a promo, a new product, a comp plan change, an event that you take the time to go learn it. And maybe you'll have people at SC1 do the same thing. Great, they're future leaders. And again, you're a leader when you decide to be. You don't need to be an executive. In fact, if I can be brutally honest, because I will acknowledge the elephant in the room is right now, there is a lot of distraction amongst the executives in LifeVantage, not just my team. I'm sure I don't need to name any names, but there's a lot of distractions. There is a lot of people wanting to do other things, and I understand that. And there's a lot of things that are competing. There's a lot of things that are. But there's distractions in messaging. There's distractions in congruency, and it's okay. It's fine. But there are some people that left, like that are no longer with LifeVantage, and I would, even though they're executives, I wouldn't call them leaders. I know that's harsh, but I would call them hard workers. Now, there are strong leaders, not Josie being one of my greatest leaders I've ever worked with. That woman leads. She's led countries. She's led teams, she's led movements. Like Josie's a leader. And that's because she has decided to be since day one, right? And I've got a lot of leaders still here, but I would say that some of them that left that are truly like not with LifeVantage anymore, they weren't leaders, they were executives that worked hard and motivated people by action, which I mean, part of leadership is leading by example, but most people just move their lips, right? Good leaders move people, great leaders move volume through people. Extraordinary like top level leaders move dreams. They get people to really believe that they can do it. And I went through Sarah Robbins. I'm on her mastermind. She's put in 250,000 people into a 70-year-old company with 400 products in the last 12 months after she did a mass migration of her company. So this is new people that were never in her previous company. These is grassroots, doing the do, having the overviews, having the mission, doing the invitations. So I hear a lot. The industry's changed. People need to do this and that, blah, 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 blah. The industry hasn't changed. Sarah Robbins has shattered that for everyone because she is literally working in a company that was pretty stagnant for a long time, 70 years old, 400 products, most of them Me Too. Like she has like laundry soap. It's, whatever but she built a movement. And she goes to the core of what is network marketing? Why is it exciting? You can build your own business. You can have your own dream. You can dream as big as you want. And by the way, join our movement and we'll help you. That's extraordinary leadership, right? So part of the thing is just, if you don't believe in yourself, find someone that believes in you because there is greatness in everyone. Although I I believe that everyone can be a leader, but some people have to come a lot further, maybe from a bad relationship, a bad child, trauma, whatever, crazy issues of confidence or ego or self-doubt or worthiness. I understand that. So some people might have to work harder than others. Or you can do what I did and just fake it till you make it and then realize that you can build your own self-worth if you keep doing what you do and you keep, achieving the goals you set out for yourself, the little ones and the medium ones and the big ones and the great ones and the really great ones. That builds confidence because I did not have confidence growing up. I didn't. My parents were divorced. I had horrific step parents. I had one telling me that I wasn't worth anything, and if I got good grades, the classes must have been easy, and blah 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 blah. If I competed well, I must have competed against weak schools, and I don't need to go to college. Why would I go to college? Why would I waste time and money? Like I didn't grow up with a bunch of parents like. I grew up very low middle class, and I knew it was going to be if it was to be, it was up to me, plain and simply. And when I got into network marketing, I think one of the biggest blessings was my upline who was successful wasn't accessible. Now, I did find a few weeks later, I did find someone that was equally successful in our way upline about 30 minutes from me. And what I did is I went to her house every Thursday night for 6 weeks and I learned the conversation. If you guys want to like laugh, I wish I had my original notes from my original conversation that I would sit in front of a room and drone on for 45 minutes. I'd play an 8-minute DVD and then I would get out a whiteboard and I would explain the product down to the science. Like Josie said, I'm a nerd. All the free radicals and this and inflammation and blah, 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 blah. And I would sell probably 100% of the people. And then I was like, hey, if you just share this, can everyone like see being on the product? Everyone's like, yes. Can everyone see sharing this product with one or two people? Everyone said yes. And I said, great. If you share it with two people who share it with two people in 12 generations, just, two, which could happen in days, weeks, or months, you would have 4,000 people and you would be making X amount of money. Right? It was like $1 million a year. And everyone's like, okay, because everyone couldn't see the 4,096 people, but they could see the two. And then they could see with a little work, even if it took a month to get those two to get two, that's fine. 4, 3 months to 8, 4 months to 16, 5 months to 32, 6 months to 64. Now, if you invested 6 months and you're only at 64 people with an average of, let's say, 300 SB, what is that? 60 times, that's about 18,000. You would be close to MC2. That wouldn't suck. But most people don't get past the 2, 4, 8, 16 when you're literally like, have 4,000, right? SC1, SC2, SC3, whatever. Most people don't get through that because they're like, oh, I feel like I should be a millionaire right now because 6 months is a long time. 3 months is a long time. And so there's that little hump that most people quit. Within 90 days, most people quit. And that's because they plant the seeds and it would literally like being like planting an apple tree and then quitting when the seedling gets out of the ground, but they can't see the plant and they can't see the bigger plant and they can't see the tree and then they can't see the fruit. Like you planted the seeds, you watered the seeds, you have to be around for the harvest. And I think because we live, especially now with, oh gosh, with social media, it's made it worse. You want something, you Google it, the next second it's advertised to you on Instagram, you click a button, Shopify, and it's in your cart and at your home within a week. We live in that kind of society. And so building a business, you have to kind of have like some delayed gratification, and that's leadership. Poor leadership is I want it now. Good leadership is I will do whatever it takes to get it in the future. And being able to see the vision, help the people through it, consistently model by example, consistently work with people. And I think that people think that they have to have a zillion people. And that's not true. My first company, where I got to my first year in network marketing it was like a partial year from 2007. I made like $58,000. I don't know what that is, about 100,000 in today's dollars, working full time. And then in 2008, I was full time in network marketing, and I was able to make $314,000 my first full year in network marketing. Someone do what is 314,000 in today's dollars from 2007? I want to say it's about 500,000. So like I didn't just like do good. I knocked it out of the park. I changed my tax bracket. I changed everything about my life. And I haven't stopped since. And the reason is because I literally adopted the leadership mindset from day one. Everything was my responsibility. In fact, today I still have this on. This was at one time black Sharpie. It says I'm 100% responsible. And I have had this on my computer for 15 years because all kinds of people say, oh, if I only had this product or this upline, or if I was on this team or I had this training system or blah, 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 blah. It's called the Messiah syndrome. If I only had something better, I would have a different result. And that is not how a leader thinks. A leader is there's opportunity. What can I create to get that opportunity? How can I get over obstacles? How can I figure out a way? Right? So the exciting part is no matter what happens, no matter where you are, today could be a day that you decide to make a difference and you decide to take responsibility 100% for the results in your team without looking up, aside, just laser focus, looking down. I have never, like, I love Carrie and I talked to her yesterday. Like, I'm great friends with Carrie, but I have never looked up to Carrie and Stu, which is my entire upline. I have never looked to them for anything except for like high level leadership, mentorship. Carrie's been around for 35 years, so she has a maturity and an emotional intelligence, and she helps me see things because, sometimes when you're emotionally involved with things, you can't. And part of leadership is being able to compartmentalize. And, John Maxwell says, anytime something great happens, you have 24 hours to celebrate, then you get back to work. Anything, something terrible happens, you have 24 hours to be sad, and then you get back to work. And I've had disappointments, I've had excitements, but it's like, okay, I'm presidential. Now what? Who's next, right? So you're one decision away. And I believe from a different life, from a different business, from a different outcome, from a different income, from a different impact. And I believe that decision is a decision to become a leader. Now, I have read, I don't know if you can see my bookshelf, I have read a lot of books on leadership. I love everything John Maxwell. I think I have like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 of his books signed up there. I love Simon Sinek for leadership. Good to Great, that's a good one. Like I can give you probably a list of great leadership books. But at the end of the day, it's a decision, right? And so I believe that today in August, this could be your breakthrough month. And I know, oh, it's slow. Actually, you guys don't have that, like, so you're not in your summer months. We're in our summer months. This is when everyone doesn't do anything, right? So we're in our slow season. You're not. But I believe that August can be any one of your breakthrough months. Any one of you can start now and say, you know what, I'm going to do different. Not because the company launched anything new, because we're not launching anything right now. Not because the economy changed, not because we had a new CEO, 2 days ago. Not because social media algorithms improved and people are seeing your stuff, or you found a new app where you can be more creative. There's a lot of things you can do. I mean, I just found an incredible AI called HeyGen, Gen, not Jen. And I just started like binging YouTube videos about it. And I'm going to do it. You just have to go on and it creates an AI version of you. So you send it some high quality pictures and then you go on and you record a 15-second video with your talking, the way you're talking. It gives you a script, I think, so you can like enunciate all the syllables and all the words, and like it learns you. And then you can literally program it to do videos for you. You can put it in AI and say, hey, give me a 15 or 30-second pitch on NRF2, on network marketing, on whatever. You can program your AI and you can be creating videos without having to do lights, hair, makeup, anything. And you can have it talk like you can record more and have it totally personalized. Like that sounds amazing. I really want to do it. It's Hey Jen. I think it's in the chat, Sarah. So like there's so many ideas right now. There's so many ideas, but that's not what's going to make you great. Those will give you customers. Those might attract some people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be everyone joining you. So when I got in 2007, I did a Craigslist ad. I met Tina, who became one of my top leaders. And then a couple months later, my husband was talking to his friend who played baseball, and he told him about it. He goes, okay, I'll buy your product. Well, like a couple weeks later, there's two major league baseball players. I'm talking big names of, $7, 8, $10 million a year players that were in my business. And I grabbed him and I went up and I grabbed their one leaders because he was like, I'm going to play baseball. Like he's a big time player. So I worked with his people and I built him to a $100,000 a year income. Again, it's probably like 200 in today's dollars in 12 months. And then a third person was my mortgage broker's wife who had just quit her job, quit a $300,000 a year job and was looking for something. And I drew circles on a napkin in Starbucks, literally. And I was like looking back and I'm like, oh my God, if I knew like she was a homecoming queen and her dad played professional football, I was like, I can't believe I did circles on a whiteboard in front of this cool chick, but she made $83,000 her first year in network marketing. Again, probably much more in today's dollars. So three people is all it took for me to pour my heart and soul and energy and all of my time into. And then those three people that I birthed and grew into these leaders, then they did what they were taught. So Tina, like the one I was with last night, I drove 90 minutes each way for 3 months, twice a week to do living room presentations. And then finally she's like, I got it. And then I kept driving to do her people's because she's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And we just tap rooted. And the same thing, week after week, like 2 to 3 nights a week, instead of watching TV, I was in people's living rooms. So sometimes I went 90 minutes and one person would show up, but I poured my heart and soul in it like there was 100 people in that room. And I just kept doing it. And I got better and I got wiser and I started knowing the conversation easier. I started learning the comp plan better. I was able to just be a better presenter. And because I didn't have anyone doing it for me, I had to do it. And that made me better. So if you're not putting yourself into leadership positions, meaning you're not in the front of the room as many times as you can be, the front of the room or the front of the Zoom, 2 nights a week should be your minimum. That's your minimum. 2 to 5 presentations in front of at least 5 or more people is what you should aim for every week. 30 to 50 a month if people. So if you meet with someone for coffee, that's considered one person. If you're talking about LifeVantage, if you have 5 people around a living room table, or a dining room table, that's 5 people. You should be tracking 30 to 50 a month minimum. Like if not, what are you doing with your time? Reading. And this is great to show up here, but this is not building your business. You only build a business when you're in front of people who can make a decision to buy your product or join your business and buy your product. Because that's the only thing you get paid on is product sales. It's your customers and consultants. That's it. And once you learn how simple it is, you'll learn that network marketing is the easiest thing in the world to do. Unfortunately, it's easier not to do. It's easier to go watch Netflix. It's easier to use your excuses. It's easier to say no one wants to do this. It's easier to say network marketing's run its course, blah, 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 blah. All the excuses and limiting ideas in your head. Leaders don't have those. We have them, but we put them away very quickly. It's a weird season, but at the end of the day, I did a opening the month call and executive call the other day, and like I'm still excited about Pro Tandem. I'm still excited about LifeVantage. I'm excited about our future. I'm excited about our new leadership coming in. I had a 90-minute call with Lisa Barnes today. 90 minutes she gave me today, this afternoon. She said that meeting Terrence and spending the last 2 days with him has been absolutely extraordinary. And she said, he has asked me more questions in our one-on-one in the 3 hours I met with him than the prior CEOs did in the 4 years I was here. She said, he is the one. And I don't know if you know this, but he has got an extraordinary track record. Let me just give you a couple of the bullet points from that track record real quick. Like, extraordinary. Okay, so he was with a company called Nature's Sunshine. You can do your own research. For 20 years, they were either declining or stagnant. They couldn't grow and couldn't grow and couldn't grow. And he got in there, I think, at the end of 2018, like October of 2018. He grew their revenue 45%. And their EITDA, I don't know what EBITDA, I don't know, increased by 190%. It was a 50-year-old company that was stagnant for 20 years until he turned them around, focusing on the field, the communication, technology, the message. And he has got so many good ideas. I get to meet him on Monday on Zoom, and I get to meet him on the 23rd or 24th in person, and I can't wait to see. But right now would be a good time to refocus and decide you want to be a leader, because we have the new CEO. I know he's going to bring great ideas, new marketing, new technology, communication, I'm sure products, and I'm sure that he will help us do what he did with his last company, which grew them 45% after 20 years of stagnant or declining growth. We have the right person, right? So are you doing the do? Are you still, if you're not a leader, if you're not making 10,000 a month, you should literally spend 90% of your time recruiting and 10% of your time managing your team. And by the way, 90%, that includes tap rooting into your team. That doesn't just mean like personal recruiting. You should always be bringing people in, but you should also be tap rooting and making sure that your newest person is launched correctly. That's leadership. Who's your newest person? Who's working with them? You know, who's making sure they launch right? Who's doing their events? Who's doing their launch event? Who's giving them information? Who's sitting down with them for an hour, onboarding them, giving them the comp plan, answering their questions, guiding them, giving them assignments, right? So I really believe that leadership starts with a decision. I think everyone can be an executive or higher. And I think that what you need to do right now is say, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Because you should quadruple down on your strengths, and then you should work on your weaknesses. And you know what? Ask somebody else. Hey, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Tell them to be honest, right? Tell them, say, hey, what could I improve on? Would you follow me where I went, right? So, I mean, again, the industry's easy. Getting leads, connecting, conversations, having prospects, giving them information, having them make a decision. That will never change. And the more you do that, and the more you get other people to do that, is where you will start seeing the growth, right? So let me ask you this. What is your goals for the next 12 months? Because I believe that no matter what you write on a paper, you can do 20% more. So I believe everyone's great. Everyone has greatness. I believe that we have the best products. I have been on these products in August this month. Marks 11 years for me, because I met someone before I joined in October. I was on the product for a couple months because I met Justin Rose, our former CSO. I've been on these products for 11 years. I love the company. I have been offered master distributorships with $100,000 a month guaranteed starting in October of this year. And I said no, because I believe what we have. I believe in all of you. I believe in our company. I am so excited about our new leadership. I think Terrence is going to be exactly what we need. But at the end of the day, he is not your leader. He is LifeVantage's leader, and he will give us great ideas, and he will guide our corporate team, and he will make sure that we have the recognition, the promos, the shipping, the technology, and everything to support us. But at the end of the day, nothing happens until we bring people to LifeVantage. That is our job. They will service our people. They will help our people. They will provide products for people. They will provide paychecks for consultants. But at the end of the day, it is our responsibility, it's our burden, our happy burden, our extraordinary, grateful gift to bring people, both as customers and consultants, to this company. And leadership means that you will figure out how to bring as many people into your team as possible, both on the customer side and the consultant side. And I just think that everyone needs to level up right now. When adversity strikes, when confusion strikes, when distraction strikes, we have the same company that got all of you to where you are now, but it's time to go further, farther, faster. Do you guys agree with me? Yeah. I'm good for several minutes. If you guys want some question and answer, could be anything. It doesn't have to be on top of, any leadership, but anyone have any questions about anything?
Julie had asked, what's your top five leadership books?
Oh, gosh, my favorite one is, gosh, I was just looking at it one second ago. Hold on. Gosh, there's so many good ones. Obviously, the Five Levels of Leadership by Maxwell is really good. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek is really good. Um, I think before you go to leadership, you do have to acknowledge that you need growth. I love the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. In fact, that's probably one of the books I have taught most of my quick little fun lessons to people, whether it's just, in a big team meeting or one-on-one or daily calls. I used to do daily calls. I really like that one. The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Again, if you need mindset, to be able to broaden your mindset, to be able to a place where you feel worthy of being a leader, you feel eligible, I guess, is my favorite book of all time, which is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life by Brian Tracy, who went from a janitor. Wait a minute, that might be, I think he went from a janitor. Either that or what's his face that just died. You know what I'm talking about. Shoot. Bob, freaking legend. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Brian Tracy. He went from like a janitor to $100 million real estate portfolio. And again, that was a long time ago. So it's probably like a $500 million. Like he was a legend. And it was the simple things that he did. Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor also, started from nothing and grew to be a legend. Bob Proctor and Brian Tracy. But I would say I would start with, oh, there's another good one. Dave Ramsey. It's called Entre Leadership. So like entrepreneur, ENTRE leadership, because it is a different animal when you're leading people that you can't give a paycheck to, right? So like if I hire you and I give you a paycheck, it's easy for me to lead you because I can just tell you what to do. When you're doing this on your own and you're building your own business and you're an entrepreneur that's here by choice, it's a different skill set. It's a different way to motivate someone, right? So Entre Leadership. So I'd say Entre Leadership, those two books from John Maxwell, Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last, and oh gosh, I have so many. Can you guys see my, that's the late part of it. Like, and by the way, I've read all those. And that doesn't include all of my, and that there's no romance novels, by the way. And these are the stack that I haven't read yet. That doesn't include the hundreds of books I've done on Audible, on Scribed, which is Ever After now or something like that. It's $12 a month for unlimited books. I'll show you what it's called. I don't know if it's worldwide or anything, but it's Everand. So see that one's called Everand. See that? It's a little ampersand sign. That is $12 or $13 a month. And if you listen to 100 books, it's one price. Where Audible is like $15 a month here in the US. You can go to YouTube though. You can go to libraries. I mean, there's a lot of free resources. I used to have like the books. I think there's one that's like Lead with Love. Hold on, buddy. My dog's like sitting there barking at my door. Hold on. He's not going to stop. Give me 1 second. Come here, buddy. Sorry, hold on, guys. Come here. Jeez. Oh, this is a good one. The John Maxwell Leadership Library. This is a really, really good one. Or Leadership Bible. This one's really good. This is really good. Yeah, it's Bible though, but it's has a leadership edge to it for those of you who are Christian. Let me think. I mean, just those four or five. Anything John Maxwell. Good to Great by Jim Collins is really good. Oh, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Extraordinary, one of the best-selling books of all time. I mean, go to the basics too. Like, has everyone read How to Win Friends and Influence People? It was one of the first books I've ever read. It changed my life. Just like we're in a people business. If you can't relate to people, that's going to be a really bad hindrance for your team as a leader. Because, part of being a leader is being empathetic and being able to talk to people and connect with people and see them where they're at and be able to coach them where they're at and help them where they're at versus where you want them to be. Right. So I think,
Tara,
oh,
Tara,
yeah.
can we spend the last 3 minutes to answer this question from Darlene? Would love to hear about your process for different topic, but anyhow, for launching new consultants to get them started on the right foot with the right skills and support.
Okay. So the first thing I would do is, well, first, if they've been in network marketing, this might not be a hurdle, but I find that one of the greatest things I did for myself in the early days, because again, most people are not entrepreneurs, you're workers. So there's a whole mindset shift that has to take place, like from I work for you and I just do what you say to, oh crap, I have to do this all myself. To be a self-starter is not innate in everyone. So I was like, tell me how to, crawl, walk, run, give me the basics. So I started reading and studying network marketing. So I think everyone should do at least 3 books on network marketing. I highly recommend GoPro because it's short, it's digestible, it's 7 skills, it's very relevant today. I love Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy Newstat. It is how she went from zero to a $2 million a year earner from scratch, being a lawyer and a PR person to selling skincare for Rodan and Fields. And I love Carrie Dickey's book. Um, just get 3 books. I mean, Todd Falcone, Sarah Robbins, who, again, I'm not worried about promoting her because she's a legend. She's great. She has the Multiply Method. Rob Sperry, Eric Worre's launching another book. But Sal Rubino is old network marketer, How to Build a 7-Figure Business. I read that like 3 times. The Ultimate Guide to Network Marketing. I mean, just get 3 network marketing books. And then I would also recommend, so I know you're like, wait, should we tell them, back office? No, if you don't have their mindset fixed, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter if they know the comp plan. It doesn't matter if they know the products. If you don't have their mindset right, they'll never do that. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a lot of friends that have been in Amway. One of the reasons Amway is so successful is a lot of the teams require 3 full months of personal development before they will even enroll you. They'll give you like a list of 10 books. If you don't read those, you're out. Like the cash flow quadrant by Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, Think and Grow Rich. Oh, it's nauseatingly antiquated, but it's so good. And what you'll find is that the same thing you'll hear over and over again is you've got to be obsessed. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone and Be Obsessed or Be Average. I've read it 3 times, and I read it 3 times as a millionaire. I love that book. Be Obsessed or Be Average, how he built from zero to like a multi-billion-dollar real estate empire, grew up poor on drugs, all this stuff. So like, I know it sounds crazy, but you got to get them on a path of personal development. You got to get their mindset correct. Then they will want to launch. They will want to invite 50 people. They will want someone to do a presentation. They will want to learn the conversation. They will be eager to learn the compensation plan. They will be scouring their network. They will be asking for referrals. They will be showing up at every event. Once they believe they can, they will. The problem is most people grow up with no self-esteem. They don't have belief. They don't have self-esteem. They have doubts. They are scared. They're scared of their own shadow. I mean, it's like 3 to 5 years to a 6-figure income. Guys, most people don't last 3 to 5 calls. They get 3 rejections and they're out. So if you don't get someone thinking like an entrepreneur, even Jim Rohn's How to Build a Network Marketing Business, it's 1 hour. It's free on YouTube. I listened to that 20 to 30 times back to back for weeks before I could just reprogram my mindset and learn about network marketing and learn, oh, people are going to say no. People are going to quit. People are going to say bad things. Like, people are going to reject me. People won't want my beautiful, magical activators. People don't want to make $1 million a year. It's hard truths. And if you're not bulletproof and ready, then you're never going to succeed. And so I think the best thing you can do to launch someone is get them on a book club and say, don't take 10 days to read this book. It's a 3-hour audio. What are you doing tonight? Read it tonight. Listen and read it. Listen to it tonight. This is a 12-hour audio. Okay, what do you have going on for the next 4 nights from 7 to 10 p.m.? Listen to this book. You know what I mean? Like, you can only tell people to do so many things, but at the end of the day, you're looking for people who are hungry, a deep desire for change, willing to do the work, and are coachable. That's the formula. That's who you're looking for. You're not looking to convince anyone. You're not looking like, oh, I see it for you. That's the worst thing you can do, is see it for someone that doesn't see it for themselves. You can keep dripping on them. You can keep showing up as an example. You can go first. I mean, it took me 9.5 years to get Angie Harper to say yes to me. 9.5 years from my first time I got rejected by her till the time she joined was 9.5 years. So, be willing to pay the price. Have that leadership mindset that I'm going to do it no matter what. It's a burn the bridge mentality. And by the way, that is what people are attracted to. They are not attracted to facts and figures and money. They are attracted to, how much do you believe that this is great? 93% of all communication between two humans is nonverbal. to the degree which you believe that this is an answer for their health or their wealth, that is the degree which you will get them to say yes. Whoever has a stronger belief in the stance of whether they should join or shouldn't join will win. So you have got to see the vision and you got to paint the vision and you got to ask questions and find out who people are and let them know from the beginning this is a business. It's hard to build a business. It takes time, it takes money, it takes effort, it takes education, it takes a learning curve. Are you willing to pay the price to change your life? And here's the bottom line, you got to be really aware of the fact that most people aren't. So just be the one that
All
is.
right. Well, thank you so much, Tara. So, everybody, I hope you got a lot out of that. Don't get overwhelmed. Choose two books and stick to that for a while. Okay. So, otherwise, all you're doing is learning, learning, learning. So, the thing is, do the doing, doing instead. But that was so useful. Thanks so much, Tara. Appreciate it. Everybody, thank you.
I
And
love you guys.
Thank
we'll
you,
send the
Tara.
recording.